Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sell More Book Show, episode 481. I'm Brian Cohen from Best Page Forward. Oh man, summer scheduling has been a challenge. It's just me today, but I'm so excited to give you all the news you want, all the information that you want here that is relevant for your wonderful June 28th and beyond. Claire from FFS Media will be back soon. ASAP. Claire is out of office currently, doing the breaks that we really should all do. I've got a really nice webinar coming up tomorrow about optimizing your keywords, your subtitles, and your categories. That'll be on Thursday at noon. I will have the link in the show notes. Also, if you subscribe to one or many of my email lists, and there are many, you will be able to find out about it through there as well. I wasn't here this past week. I haven't had a chance to really, I think, recap even just, I can't even recall, but I was at InkersCon recently. That was a blast. Alessandra Torre puts on a great show. I thoroughly recommend going to that live in the future. But if you pick up an InkersCon digital ticket, that'll have a talk from myself as well as from ad school and ad agency superstar Quinn Ward too. So definitely go consider a InkersCon digital ticket. The coupon code Brian23 gets you a little bit of a discount, and I believe I also get a little bit of credit for it, which is always nice. So if you purchase an InkersCon digital ticket, make sure to use that Brian23, and that is at, I believe, InkersCon.com. I'll go and swing by just to make sure. And yes, that is at InkersCon.com. Folks, we had a question of a week a couple of weeks ago, which was, what do you consider to be a full-time author? And is that something you consider yourself to be or that you aspire to be? Jerry Williams said, I consider a full-time author to be someone who makes a living from their books. Most of us are actually full-time content creators who do more than just write. I really like that, Jerry. I consider my books, my podcast, and TV consulting to be my full-time package of income generator work. I must confess that since I'm retired and have a pension, I have absolutely no stress or pressure to make money, but the entrepreneurial spirit still drives me to succeed. And that is something we don't always consider, that we as authors, as content creators, as Jerry puts it, we have a better chance of success if we have that entrepreneurial spirit, to have that other thing that drives us to success. And when you have a pension, when you have a spouse who's bringing in an income as well, it does put less pressure on you. And that is something you have to consider in all of this. Stan Scrabbit said, I am very much a part-time author for now. However, in just over 1,020 days, I plan to make the transition to full-time. I see retirement in my future. Writing would be a new chapter. Yeah, and as Claire pointed out in that episode, full-time, it doesn't need to matter. It doesn't need to matter, and I really like the way Claire mentioned that back in that episode. I believe it was 479. Miranda McGuire says, someone that doesn't rely on another job for income, who gets to write all day, every day, is full-time. And though I spend hours writing, editing every day, I don't generate any income. So will never be a full-time author, though I wish I could. Never say never, Miranda. I think that when it comes to trying to have success for the first time, it's hard. Trying to generate an income from books is hard. And you have to give yourself credit for that. You're not trying to do something that a billion people have figured out. You're trying to do something that only a handful, that thousands in the world have gotten to be full-time at. And that's hard. So just give yourself credit. Be kind to yourself. You can answer the question of the week over at sellmorebookshow.com in the comment section for our latest episode, or going over to the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group. There's only one voice, one word here, one person's word here. So I'm excited to give you our top story of the week. Do we write for BookTok? Is BookTok changing the way that authors are writing books? The short-form nature of TikTok has changed the way readers and authors are talking about books on social media. Quote, a common way to quickly discuss book plots on TikTok is through tropes or specific themes that recur in many stories, writes Business Insider's Marta Bino. These tropes and their related hashtags make it easy for readers to find the content and books they are looking for, and they are helping to sell books. Many publishers are thinking about tropes and their importance on TikTok. Quote, tropes are more important than ever, says Christina Demosthenes, publisher of Renegade Books. They are signifiers for readers, and readers are ride or die for their favorite tropes. There's something in the comfort and familiarity of them. End quote. While the focus on tropes may sound like a shortcut, some authors are finding this to be a double-edged sword. Quote, those who set out to write using tropes may find life-changing success, writes Bino, but other writers may find themselves discouraged or feel the pressure to incorporate certain tropes in their writing to increase their chances of going viral, end quote. Authors can feel under constant pressure to write to trend, yet make your book distinctive enough to be different. Some authors are changing what they write in order to fit certain trends in. Author Anne Bailey decided to try switching genres, writing a romance novel using the popular enemies to lovers trope, and quickly found success. Her romance outsold her historical fiction by 5 times in just 30 days. Quote, I was very aware of what people were searching for in terms of keywords, what was popular, and I wrote a book that was still in my own voice, in my own plot, but able to fit into that category. End quote. End story. Really interesting quote from Anne Bailey there at the end, in her own voice, in her own plot, but was able to make it fit. And that is really interesting, right? We became authors, at least in part, because we wanted to share our stories. And of course, the hope is that readers will want to read said stories. And there is something of a shortcut, right? We can see with work, with research, with effort, what kinds of things these readers are looking for, and then we can write those things. But a lot of people come into authoring with certain story ideas they've already had. Now, in Bailey's case, she was able to write a book that was in her own voice, in her own plot. But it's harder for some people. And so it can be easier to just stick to tropes in an effort to try to get more success. Now, success isn't everything. Sales aren't everything. And without Claire here, I feel the need to point out kind of the perspective that she would tend to bring, which is that, sure, you can write tropes. Sure, if you have certain business goals, you might want to might want to write certain books in certain genres in a certain way. But what do you care about? What are your goals? What do you want out of your author career? What kind of author do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to lead? And if writing tropes that are popular on BookTok is not fulfilling those things that you want to get out of being an author, then don't do it. But if you do want to have financial success, but you say, well, I'm never going to do that. Going back to kind of what Miranda said in the question of the week, never say never, y'all. Never say never. Because if you need an income, and this might be a way with enough skill, with enough hard work, to make that income happen, but then you say never to the things that people are doing every single day to try to make their success happen, then you are standing in your own way. And you have to keep that in mind. You cannot assume that your way that you had pre-planned in your mind is going to work, because life and other people always intervene. Let's go into the hot potatoes of wisdom here. Is it a bad thing to think about your BookTok marketing when writing a book? It is never a bad thing to incorporate marketing into your mindset when you are writing a book, because then you are going to have a better chance of selling it. And if that fits in with your goals, if you want to sell a certain number of copies of your book and you already had the marketing in mind while you were writing the book, you might find it easier to sell the book. How many authors have tried to maneuver the marketing after they've written the book and not found success? Countless authors. And so I think it is not a bad thing to think about your BookTok marketing when you are planning out a book. It is only a bad thing if it doesn't make you happy, because you should be happy while you are running this author business of yours. Now, another hot potato of wisdom. Is there a wrong way to use tropes that you'd find on BookTok when you're writing? Yes, there is a wrong way to use tropes, and that is without doing the proper research. You still need to research. You still need to read some of these books that are popular with these particular tropes, because if you are only going based on a few quotes from books or a few TikTok videos, you might be missing a lot. If you are just putting tropes into a book because you know that tropes work, but those tropes don't always fit well together, then you might not be doing yourself a service with this. So the wrong ways are essentially not doing the legwork, not doing the research. If you avoid that, because you're like, I don't have time, I have to put a book out. Well, if you don't have time to read, as Claire says, you don't have time to write. You need to do reading in addition to just trying to make these BookTok tropes stand out in your own work. So I am going to take another little sip of tea here from my Zen Lemur mug. And let's go into the lightning round. Pew, 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 bow, 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 bow. It's just 10 minutes of sound effects, people. So the lightning number one, how can you actually validate whether a popular trope on BookTok has carryover to sales and popularity of books? Chris Fox spelled this out in his book, Right to Market. But the way to validate whether a popular trope is actually working for sales and popularity of books in general is to go get your behind over to Amazon and to look at that sales rank and see how the book is doing in its category, and to see if there are other books like it that are also doing well. Now, I can tell you, just from keeping an eye on the industry, as I like to do, there are plenty of BookTok books with BookTok tropes that have graced the top 100 of the Kindle store. But a lot of them are dependent on virality. So you do need to chart that sales rank over time. See if it's just a one-hit wonder where it has one spike, or if it continues to remain at a high level in the Kindle store, then that may be worth looking into the trope, but you still need to read the book. All right. Lightning number two. Mark Dawson's Hello Books has entered into a partnership with Written Word Media of Bargain Booksy, allowing authors to schedule discount promotions for both platforms. Is this a good thing for authors? So is the strategic partnership between Hello Books and Written Word Media a good thing? I think yes. Whenever companies can do more to deliver better service for authors, whenever you can schedule, I was looking at the press release on this, now you can schedule out some of these promos 12 weeks in advance. It used to be more like 4 or 5. And so anything that allows you to plan better, anything that allows you to have a successful promo is a good thing. Does that mean everyone should go out and book these promos? Make sure that any kind of promo that is having success has had success in your genre, not just in general. You want to make sure that it has had recent success in your subgenre. And so you're going to have to do some legwork. You might have to reach out to some people in order to find out. But generally, I would say it's a good thing. Number 3 on the lightning. How can authors maximize success when using an email newsletter promotion? When you're doing an email newsletter promotion, it's all about maximizing your sales rank over a 5 or longer day period. Because the way Amazon sales rank works is it's taking the half sales of the day before and a quarter sales of the day before that. And so you want to, as well as today's sales, and you need to have multiple days in a row of sales rather than just one spike. And so if you are going and scheduling promos, you want to spread them out over a few days. You might want to hit up your own email list, email your own list about the sale. You might want to do things like list swaps. You might want to run things like Amazon ads in order to get that sales rank to be high enough over those 5 days so that you have a little bit of a cushion after, so that you are able to actually get sticky up in the rankings where you stay at a higher rank, and that visibility helps you to continue to get more sales. Now, another thing, going in another direction here with a lightning. The Authors Guild wants traditional publishers to include AI clauses in their publishing contracts. Do you think they will? So the Authors Guild is lobbying traditional publishers saying, please include AI and make sure that either you're not going to use AI or you're not going to take this author's work and use AI, train on it, etc., etc. I don't know if it'll work, though, because right now there is a huge kerfuffle between the Writers Guild of America and the rest of the film industry, because the Writers Guild is saying we need better rights when it comes to streaming, and we need to have a better understanding of how AI derivative things are going to come from our work. And right now the strike's been going on for 50 days, and it has not come to a resolution. And I wonder if the traditional publishing companies will see this and say, well, this is a pretty big sticking point. I don't think we are going to put AI clauses. And a lot of traditionally published authors, they are not necessarily in a great position to accept terms that are exactly what they want. Now, they should use a lawyer or use an agent to negotiate things, but I'm not so sure that traditional publishing is going to make major changes just because the Authors Guild is lobbying them to include AI clauses. Final lightning for today's solo Sell More Book Show. The SMBS is, if you could be booked on any show, program, podcast, or YouTube channel, what would it be and why? So I've got 2 answers for this. If I could be booked on any show or any piece of media, what would I pick? I thoroughly enjoyed when I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but I would enjoy being a game show host. I would enjoy being a talk show host. I love the idea of just kind of using my improvisational background in order to just have fun with people live. I love that live feeling. I love the energy. I don't get that so much here in my very room. The only person in here is the cat. Rocket the cat remains. She's doing great. And she is in here, but no people. And so it's a little different with the energy. I would love to be on some kind of self-publishing game show or self-publishing talk show. Those are the things I would love to get booked on. Now, without Claire here, it is tough to always bring in this rational voice. But when it comes down to it, it is about making sure you are connected with yourself. all kinds of questions that we could answer on this program. A lot of it comes down to, what do you truly want? Really, when you strip away everything else, what do you truly want? And so I think that is going to be the answer to a lot of these kinds of questions that we could ask here. And our opinion is only going to matter somewhat, because you are the most important person in your publishing business. So, question of the week is, has learning about tropes through BookTok or otherwise changed the way you write your own books? Has learning about tropes changed the way you write your books? You can answer the question of the week over at the Sell More Book Show website at sellmorebookshow.com, or at the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group. Folks, it might be me and a guest host next week, or it might be just me solo again, as Claire and I try to get our schedules all synced up. But regardless of who's here, you know the Sell More Book Show loves you. We are very happy to be producing this podcast for you every single week, 481 consecutive weeks. If you have yet to post a review, we would love for you to go over to Apple Podcasts and leave one. It would mean a lot to us. And if you have never shared the Sell More Book Show, letting people know that you listen to this show and that they might just enjoy it too, please do feel free to do that. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, everybody. And I hope you have a great week of book selling as well. We will see you for episode 482 next week. Until then, take very good care. Bye.